Never mind. You already did it. So.
Yep. What up? What up?
Let's get it.
Okay. Let me make sure everybody is in there. Hold on a second. Should be going.
Man, look at King Cool Cutter, boy. You looking that boy looking studious right there.
Hey man, you know I'm on my dead president shit tonight. I come to take it all. Give me all the money.
Whoa.
Okay, make sure y'all can. I'm gonna send y'all a link. Make sure everybody can share so we can get some comments up in here.
All right, let me do that now. I think somebody's trying to hack my Facebook anyway. I had to change my whole shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Copy link. Is yours posting on your personal page, Cutter?
Nah, I think you got too many up there. I was trying to add. That's what fucked it up the last time.
Is yours posting on your personal page, Cutter?
Nah, I think you got too many up there. I was trying to add. That's you got an echo. Fucked it up the last
time. Because I'm on. Let me get off. Boy, mess up. YouTube. Get off of there. Okay, and then make sure y'all actually not streaming on your phones with the volume up because it'll leave an echo, as you just heard. Comments. All right, we waiting on Gillum. Where the hell he go?
Going to get that Willie D record.
Oh, that's when he about to put Willie D back on. Hey, for those who are listening, we appreciate you coming on to another episode of Concrete Reality TV, where we strive to know more and do more. Be sure to click that little button on the bottom, subscribe, and then be sure to share this so we can get some viewers. We want to have some comments on here, even though I know football is about to start, so it's gonna be.
And fuck them Cowboys.
Uh-oh, look who you just called up.
Hey, don't feel bad because your team ain't drafted number 1. They drafted number 2 because they decided to win a game that was worthless. It's okay.
Oh, wow. So they actually not, we not finna get into it.
Nah, we're not doing that. Not right now, at least.
Hey, why they fire Lovey, man? Did they fire Lovey for winning?
No, they fired Lovey because he's trash.
Yeah. That team is trash.
The team trash, talent, exactly.
So. Well, the organization itself is trash. So
yes, definitely.
But Lovey ain't no head coach. He couldn't do shit in Chicago. Couldn't do shit in Tampa Bay. I mean, shit. Lovey is just probably, if anything, a defensive coordinator. I don't think he.
I think they hired a black dude.
All right, so we ain't talking no football. We talking about parenting in this damn child support system. So let's get it cracking.
Link too, but I got it. I can share.
You said you needed a link.
I got it. I'm gonna share it from here. I can do that from
the YouTube one. Okay.
Yeah.
We interrupt this program to bring
and you say third coast. Yeah. It's such a delight to be here tonight, utilizing the gift of song that I've been blessed with to bring to y'all so much joy. And you know, like I know, don't nothing bring more joy than a clean cut New Orleans boy, huh? They say I wouldn't do it again.
Yeah, I played the wrong one, but I do like that intro. That's our other intro. It be jamming. We got my co-host on here, Cool Cutter. What up, though?
What's happening, man? Amongst those who know better, so we do better. Let's
And
get it.
we got the author Danelle Wright joining us again. What's up, Danelle? How you doing?
Hello, everybody. Glad to be back.
Yo, we got that boy K Fred. What's happening with you?
What's going on with your peoples? How we doing tonight?
We got OG too. What up, Gillum?
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How y'all doing tonight?
So what's up, man? We back in here. We're discussing this topic, controversial topic. It seems at times, seems to bring out the worst in people, even though it's supposed to be trying to join forces and bringing out the best in people. But we're discussing parenting under the child support system, which is a large topic. By the way, disclaimer: we are not lawyers, not trained, or speaking any kind of legal advice to you. We're only just discussing our opinions about legal shit. So if you use the stuff we say and then try to blame us, it's all on you. You better pay that damn child support.
Pay that bill, baby.
Go ahead, pay it. So let's get it cracking, man. So basically, let's start it off. I wanted to kind of set a precedence about child support a little bit. So I wanted to kind of set the mood, because I don't know if y'all remember, but a long time ago, believe it or not, it used to be considered a bad thing to have children out of wedlock. I don't know if y'all remember that. You remember, when a long time ago, when you knocked up a woman, then it was considered one of the worst things to do, because of the parents would be left taking care of the child, number one. And then number two, there would be, based off the responsibility would be removed from the father, because remember, he didn't marry the woman, so he left her scorned. And if you ever watched the the movie or read the book, you had to wear that A on your head, adultery, because you were scorned, you were damaged, you broke that, you broke a law, what we call sins. So with that being said, once they were left with this responsibility, this scar, then the father, remember, he didn't leave his name either. And if you know about that, if you don't have that father's name, you don't get the legacy. So no legacy, no name. The bastard child is left just, just lost. So it is what it is. But these systems were set into place to try to prevent that from happening, to try to minimize that, because in different societies, it could get bad when you got all these damn fatherless children running around, and unmarried women without any kind of support. And that's kind of where the support system came in. It ain't the first time with the United States when it was developed in the 1930s and then evolved in the 1970s. But that's what we're kind of discussing now. We're going to start from the point of 1975, 1976, when they actually created our child support system, which is the Title 4D system that was set into place, that was attached to the Social Security plan that was initially established in 1935. So that's where we're taking our seat from. Let me check something. Hold on a second. StreamYard, access your account. Okay, that's your link, Cutter.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. I wanted to kind of post a little something. The reasoning why our Title 4D, as we know it, child support system was created in 1974. Just so we'll know the basis, it was a title that was added to the Social Security Act from 1935, as I mentioned. And hold on, Gillum's back in. Gotcha. And then we have some reasonings why. They said it was a high out of wedlock births were really high at that time, and that's when I was born, 1975, a year later. So yeah, I am a product of that sexual revolution that was taking place. It was popping. Everybody was banging, and then I was one of the ones that were produced during that era. Single moms with children because dads were not there. It got bad. They started basically living off the dole on the government's tit, and then dads were not prominent in a lot of the lower income societies, those households. A lot of times dad would abandon the family for various reasons. That's a whole nother discussion about why. Then of course a lot of them, some of them were married. That was our life. I'm sure a lot of people had that situation with that part. And then of course all moms were left with custody, so they got left with the bag. Dads failed to provide financial assistance, so mothers and children abandoned to the public assistance, which is, like I said, the government tit. So that's what ended up happening. They came up with this system that's supposed to help alleviate that or minimize that, because when they started checking the records, it started showing that it was a large increase of money that was going out, and then when they did a poll on it and did a study, it showed that the majority of people that were collecting from that Social Security, the demographics were single mothers, lower income, fathers not in the household, or if they were in the household, they were hiding in the closet. If you remember the movie, what was the movie with James Earl Jones? Basically he had been hiding in the closet when the Social Security lady came to check the house to see if they still qualified. But I can't remember the movie name, but I remember it was I saw him hiding in the closet, and he came out, started talking noise, trying to find out why they were treating the lower income families like that. But nonetheless, that's part of the reasoning, where that was one of the problems that they saw. There was a high population of single mothers that were on the government's tit. So they said, we're going to clean it up. And they ended up creating this system to try to minimize the government funding for that program. And then they went after the dads to try to get them to pay for it. So I guess I'll leave it with that, and then we can kind of discuss it from that point. What are y'all thoughts?
I think that that's interesting, and I definitely understand a lot of where that comes from. It makes sense. I saw one article here that says mothers are more likely to receive primary custody for a number of reasons. The primary reason being that back in the days when all of these things were implemented, more of the mothers were not able to get employment as much as the fathers were. And so they were at home with the kids primarily. They were the ones that had more time with the kids. And so what I realized in my own experience going through the court system is they weigh a lot on how much time has been spent with the kids when they're factoring in like child support, custody. They take into consideration a lot what parent has been around the kids or spent more time with the kids. And it just kind of makes sense that going back and looking at that historic data, that it would be leaning more towards the women, just because in those times, that's what the commonality was for the lifestyles for the family.
What you got, K. Fred? I know you thinking. I can see it in your face.
Wow.
So, how can I say this? It's what's done is done. We understand there's a system that's been created, right? But I think the problem that I find that most men have, and not even men, let's talk about women, because I know some women go through the same thing that men go through, but there's a thing called parents' rights. Now, I'm going to speak more specifically about fathers' rights. And I think that sometimes we believe that we're just subject to what they give us, right? But they only give it to you based on what you don't know. if you know and understand father's right in certain court cases, then you can go back and you challenge based on those particular federal court cases. Santosky versus Kramer, Stanley versus Illinois, Jarrett versus Jarrett, right? These are all various cases that tackle father's rights, right? So for me, it's about the education part of it, understanding what your right is, not just as a father, but as a parent, right? Because you're not just subject to what they give you.
Yo, Cutter, what you got on that?
I think Fred just said it. Knowing your rights as the male in this predicament, knowing laws in the state that you're in, not in Cali, not in Florida, not in Texas, but whatever state you're in, knowing the laws. I had a homie in particular that, was going through something with his child's mother. The child wasn't even born yet, and she was already acting crazy. And I had a friend of mine who actually worked for the child support office. I called her, conferenced her in so she could kind of give him some insight on, the laws in Atlanta. In Georgia. And, basically told him to, in any circumstance, you don't really have much leeway in Georgia. Go ahead and file child support on yourself now. Go ahead and get it over with. It's gonna look better. But he failed to adhere to her advice, and he suffered for it. So I would just say,
well, that's big.
Go ahead.
Well, it's kind of like that. That's because you voluntarily agreed to a contract.
Right. I mean,
right. So let me ask.
Go ahead.
And that goes back to what I was saying earlier, Cutter, because it's like if you don't know what's going on, then you'll just go with the standard norm because it's what everybody else does, right? It's what you've always heard and what you've seen your pappy and your uncle and all of them walk through the same process. But what we're talking about is commerce. This is commerce, and it's commerce law, right? And we all understand that kind of family court sits in its own little division by itself because it's there generating profit, right? And the child is looked upon, like they say, it's a warden of the state. How is that? What makes the child the warden? Well, it was right there when you had the child and the notary came in and you signed the bond, or the birth certificate, right? And then anything that comes to light has to have the seal of the state.
Right.
You see what I mean? So this is commerce. And then you can talk about what they do with the bond, because the state does something with the bond or the birth certificate once they have it, right? So it like we talked about last time, it behooves the state because this is business. So you going in not knowing what you're doing, you know what I mean? Signing on to agreements for the sake of something that you think is yours because it's your child, but they show you all the way through, male or female, that's not your child. That child belongs to the state. And until you free yourself from those agreements, you're always going to be subject to what the state says for you.
So my question.
Oh, what'd you say, Cutter? Oh, go ahead.
My question would be, in those instances, because I don't have kids and I'm limited on this subject. I just know what I know. But in that instance where you're involved with a woman, you're not married to her. What right? I mean, we know you're limited with rights. What would you suggest a man do in that position, knowing that he has a child on the way, possibly his, knowing that he was greatly, he had to deal in that. So, like, what would you suggest?
So the question is, what would you do if you have? as a man,
Yeah.
right? All right. So my thing is this: understand that you're going to go through signing agreements, right? But I think the thing when you walk into court, because there's a petitioner and there's another little label called a respondent, meaning you responding to the petitioner petitions, which means they're on the head of the game, right? Because they petition first. And then they have their motion and they have everything lined out to determine why I should be what they call the custodial parent, right? And then from there, that's where they argue and they throw the ball back and forth in the court. Okay, that's why they call it a court. And at the end of the day, they're determining not just quote unquote, as they say, the best interest of the child, but the child's well being. Where would he be best suited at? So I think as a man, you should always be king of your castle and have your own. And I think, Gil, that's a prime example, of a man that took on that part of the system and had to walk through it in order to get custody of all three of his kids. But it was also him understanding and knowing what his rights were. And that's what I say, for me, father's rights is important, because there's all types of court cases. I think Ephraim, I sent you, Nat Denham made a list of court cases that deal with father's rights. And there's also father's rights attorneys out there, so whether you go in pro se or whether you go in being represented, it's still ensuring that you are exercising your rights as a father. So my first thing in answering your question was go learn your rights. Learn what you can and cannot do. Learn about visitation time, because that's going to be something that comes up. Some intrastate parenting plans. Some parents may not live in the same state. One may live in California, one may live in Chicago, right? How do they do parenting plans? How does that work? What are your rights around that? So just depending on the scenario, because everybody's different, it's still understanding your own personal rights as a parent.
So with that being said, I was going to show, since we're on the foundation of what fathers are, because I think that's the biggest part. I guess number one, Danelle had mentioned before, she wanted to kind of set a precedence, working definition of what a single parent was. So I was going to kind of share the screen a little bit. Something simple, quick reference. Definition of a single parent. I could have said it, but I like to show it because I don't want you to just take my word for it. Be like, hey, he think he knows shit. No, I just know what I know. So definition of single parent families are families with children under age 18 headed by a parent who is widowed or divorced and not remarried, or by a parent who has never been married. Simple, to the point, right? So that pretty much sums up a lot of people. And I also wanted to show one other thing, since we're on the fathers tip, is to let's do a little internet surfing, a little Googling. So if we go to this is the rights of unmarried fathers. So this kind of gives you some working definitions about what single fathers are classified as in the system in various states. So according to this, every state's going to be different. Remember, Danelle, we talked about this. In Georgia, it's called the legitimation process, but every state has a form of a father registrar that you register to as potential fathers. You remember, because you got to prove that that's who you are. Fathers just don't get the benefit of the doubt because the kid didn't come out of us, came out of the mother. So for fathers, remember, if we go back a little bit to when I said that before, when women would have children out of wedlock, they would, which is called fornication. If they had a child out of wedlock from that fornication, then the fathers typically didn't want to claim responsibility to the child. So this whole system was built to try to force fathers to start providing some sort of support to the family that they created either outside of their own family or just as a single man. But now this is new. Remember, this whole process is new. The bastard kids, are now, I guess the fathers are wanting to claim them. Now they want, hey, we want rights. We want actual rights to our bastard kids. Remember, this is unheard of. This is a new process because before, bastard kids were supposed to be bastard kids. You ain't mine. I don't know who you are. You ain't getting none of my shit. You ain't gaining none of my legacy. But now the single fathers, or rather the fathers that are father these kids out of wedlock, they're like, now we want rights to this thing. So that's what this.
So I have a question. So how old is the system you said? When did it start? In 1973, is that what you said?
1975.
Okay, 1975. So from 1975 to now, the system has been the same, correct?
Since when?
Since 1975, the system has been the same, correct? Most of the meat of the system.
It's been amended over and over again because they always add little different things, but like the foundation of it, which is a collection agency, with the fathers being the creditors, the debtors rather.
Yes.
It's still about the same.
All that's still the same.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the Industrial Revolution, we have women's libs, and women said they're equal to men, correct? Did we have that movement?
You say equal to men?
That's what they say. They want to be equal to men, correctly?
That's part of women's rights.
That's part of women's rights, yes.
The same rights. Yeah.
So why has the system changed? It can be men and women to be the payee. So men can, if they're being equal, it should be an equal responsibility, correct?
Well, remember, just because we say that we're putting these genders on there, custodial parent can be a man or a woman.
Yeah, I'm just saying in general though. As you look at the, what they're talking about, because they don't say gender role, they say man. Most of the time, it's the man. Most of the times, yes. 95% of the time, it's the man who's paying. Even if he wants to be part of the life, it's 95% of the man who's paying.
Yep, that's due to the circumstances of the system, the tradition. Because remember, all this goes back to.
That's what I mean. So shouldn't the system be revamped so everybody can be equal?
Equal how?
Equal how responsibilities.
It ain't.
Especially if a man wants to be part of the life. I'm saying if a man wants to be part of it, and it should be equal sharing part of what's going on. People equal responsibility, equal child support, equal all of that. If that's what we're doing.
Well,
I mean, in turn, they call that joint legal and joint physical.
Yeah.
Custody.
You are spending,
sometimes
you're spending equal time as the mother with the child. You're not ordered to pay child support.
You said what?
If the time spent with the child is 50-50, in rare cases is there child support order because they go by the amount of time that each parent is spending with the child. So if you see your child 30% of the time and the mother has them 70% of the time, then child support is going to be ordered. But in true cases where mother and father share joint custody, that means physical custody, legal custody. And most of those joint custody cases, child support is not an issue because they say you take care of the child when he with you, you take care of the child when he with you, and y'all have them equal amount of time, so it don't matter.
So that it's all based off of state, and no, that's not true because the custodial parent is always, they have the option of seeking child support. It don't matter if you're the custodial parent and you make 100,000 to $1 million. It don't matter if you're the custodial parent. When Michael Jackson had knocked up his or used his maid, housewife, house maid or whatever as the concubine for his kids, he could have got child support from her because he was custodial parent. That's how weird the system is.
But I'm not talking about a custodial parent. I'm talking about somebody that spends, both of them are custodial parents. They share 50-50 joint custody.
What do you mean? Because you're talking about actual visitation and parental rights. That's separate.
About 50-50. The court has ordered that you get them 50% of the time. You get them 50%.
You talking about joint? Oh, you talking about joint custody?
Okay,
right.
So let me elaborate. Even though they say joint because you have two parts to it. You have the legal part, which means the legal right to make decisions on health, on schools, on the well-being of the child, right? And that's joint 50-50 between both parents, which
That's
means
legal.
they have to collectively come together and discuss these things in a mature fashion and make a choice together, okay?
Right.
The other part is legal and then physical.
Right.
Okay, physical means where does the child stay the majority of the time, okay?
Right.
Now, most of the time, because in order for it to be 50-50 here, 50-50 there, there's 7 days a week. And normally what the courts do is for the man, they'll lay out what they call his visitation schedule. So they'll normally alternate holidays. You got them this Christmas, I get them next Christmas, you know, or it's you get them this 4th of July, I get them the next 4th of July. Even birthdays are divvied out in it. And they'll go odd to even years for you or that. And that's normally how those schedules are played out. But the way they do it, it still leaves the man with less time because the mother is normally going to get Monday through Friday and the man will get every other weekend.
Not if they're living in the same area and both parents are agreeing to get the child back and forth to school and there's no disruption to their lifestyle. Exactly,
which is why I said earlier that takes a mature relationship in order to have that, which the majority of people don't, right? That's like a rare unicorn. You know what I'm saying in comparison to the mass.
That's why the single parent number is so high. But in single parent numbers, let me just read this if y'all don't mind, because I just want to bring these facts to the table so we can discuss them further as well. So first off, 80% of all single parents in the United States are single mothers. And that's 15.6 million children are in that number. And then single mothers have a 35.6% smaller median income than single fathers. Only 45.9% of single parents receive full support from their parents. So breaking the child support down, first off, single mothers receiving child support, 46.4% are receiving full child support. Partial support is 24.9%. No support at all is 28.7% of the 80% of single mothers that are raising our kids by themselves. So out of the 80% of single family homes that are raised by mothers, 28.7% of those are not receiving any support at all from the fathers. And then in regards to single mothers and their wealth, one thing that we have to take into consideration is all of us are struggling in this economy. I don't care if you got a 2-income household. The cost of living goes up way higher than our raises do every year. You can't keep up if you got 2 people living in the house. So of course there is going to be stress and struggle when you're dealing with one parent trying to provide all of the basic needs. And most people, and I brought a lot of statistics, so we'll get into it, but most mothers do not use welfare. And I know that that's something that we talked about on part 1, but since we're talking about welfare, let's just say this, 743,000 single mothers are receiving welfare currently in the United States. Only 743,000. Do you know how many single mothers are out there? Single children are out there? That's a small number compared to how many single mothers are out there. 743 in the United States, single mothers on welfare. The labor force participation rate of mothers with kids under 18 is 72.3%. So that brings the facts to the table that most of these single mothers are trying to work.
I'm curious, I guess, I'm sure. So as far as with what does that translate into in reality? Because if that's the case, if that's the fact, then what's the point of child support?
Because the cost of living is too high. Like I just said, I don't care if you got 2 incomes in the household. You can't tell me that people with 2 incomes are staying above the cost of living increase. Inflation goes up higher than your pay raise. Everybody's struggling in this economy, unless you are just wealthy and set.
Or you live in
The real issue is if you want what's best for your kids, let's get back to preventative measures. Let's get back to why are we continuing on this? Why are we
don't have them if you can't afford them?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
On both ends.
I just said, I mean, that's all good and fine unless you're living above your means. And we already know we can't do stats on how many women are living above their means. I know a lot of women who do receive child support, but you know, they focus as Benz's and Louis Vuitton. So does child support cover that shit? The trips that they take?
Most likely child support is covering that shit.
The average cost for daycare in the United States is $1,000 a month. The average mother that's receiving child support is only receiving $400 and something a month. So how in the world can somebody say that her expenses don't outweigh what most mothers are getting in child support? If my daycare alone is $1,000 and somebody giving me $1,500, do you think that if I get my nails done or I go take a trip that I'm using your child support money? Please, I have to add to your child support money just to take care of this child's basic needs. And if I'm investing all of my time into making sure that your child has a good quality of life, support, is safe, is fed, is clean, and all of that, don't I deserve to get my nails done?
With your money.
Let's flip it. So let's flip it. So here, I'm the father, right? And you need to be paying me child support. And at the end of the day, don't I deserve to go get my hair done? Give me a shave or something.
If you're the primary parent, you damn right.
So here's right. So we in agreement, right?
Right.
Okay, so here's my point with this. At the end of the day, it becomes a what? A choice.
Because
it's a choice.
That choice.
It's a choice. There it is again. We're going to talk about this every week.
Talk about it. I know what's going to come up. I don't prepare for it. But my point is this. You can't say that more men are paying more than $1,000 a month in child support.
It's not about that for me. I don't care about that.
But
I don't care about who pays.
Mothers are not using your child support to go on trips and do for themselves.
That doesn't matter to me. Here's my point with it. If you're a custodial parent and you don't like not getting enough to take care of your child and it becomes a burden for you, then don't give it to the other party.
What if the child doesn't want to go live with the other party?
But here, no, it doesn't matter. What do you mean what the child doesn't want? Y'all kill me.
If my child is bonded with me, for instance, if my child is bonded with me, I'm a stay-at-home parent, and I'm the one that they look up to in the morning to make them breakfast. I'm the one that.
But that's your choice.
You're right. It is. It was our choice until we broke up.
Exactly. So you don't think the father has the ability to exercise that same choice like you?
If the father made the choice to make me the primary parent while he goes out and works or whatever, then he understood that the child was going to be closer bonded and more comfortable with me than him. And he understood that he was accepting his role to be more of the provider than the nurturer.
Okay, so once again, what you're saying is that you made a choice to be the nurturer, right? That was your choice.
If we were still together and that's how we were living.
Okay, so hear me out this. And like I said, it's not about male or female with me, right? You know, I'm always in the best interest of the child. Fuck your feelings. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, the father deserves just as much emotional bonding with that child as the mother does, right? And it should be equal in that matter. But what I tend to see is that women want to put themselves above the father and go, well, I'm the one that's got him all the time. Like, you made the fucking choice. So what, you want a cookie for that? Because at the end of the day, you could have gave the child to me and I would have took care of it. I would have nurtured it. I would have woke up in the middle of the night. I make bottles, baby. Let me tell you, we get it in over here as black men because we are nurturers as well. No.
I take my hat off to you for doing that.
No, let me tell you, most women are selfish, and they're not going to come outside of themselves enough to allow a man to nurture his child on a day-to-day basis. And so, but here's what they do. They'll sit there and whine, bitch, and complain about he ain't there and he don't give me enough and I don't get enough and I always got him and I don't get no time by myself. But at the end of the day, there's a choice. You can find a remedy to all that. Do you want your son for the next 3 weeks? You know, most men, I got that. Shit, give him up, because we got pride in that. But one thing we ain't about to do is argue with your ass about the right to actually have to have what's deserving to you. Y'all act like y'all throwing a bone or something, giving a man his child like it's a fucking issue. I made it. It comes from me. It's my seed. And just as much as I'm a provider and a protector, I'm also a nurturer. But somehow y'all get it in your head that no, women are the only ones. I'm not getting, you'll hear him say it, Ephraim, I'm not giving my child to him. Your child. You just singled him out right there. It's your child.
So my question is this. If most women are selfish and is in our intent not to have loving fathers for our children, if that's our intent, then what are we doing? You really think that us women set out to have kids and we're supporting men? Because in most cases, women are supporting men to go out and build the career that they want, not sitting back having kids just so they could break up one day and hopefully get on welfare, getting $800 a month. Like, that ain't realistic. So what are we really trying to do? If we're really talking real facts here, most women didn't get into a relationship expecting for it to fail. And I don't think the man did either. So I think it's a joint responsibility there. And if you want to be a nurturer, if you want to spend that time with your child, there are many men on the panel that can show you how to do that and work at the same time. So if you're dealing with a man who hasn't been a nurturer while he was in the home with the mother, don't start being one now all of a sudden that we're not around. Of course, the kid ain't going to feel comfortable just going off with you if you haven't been that person in the home while you were with the mother.
But hold on. That's kind of an oxymoron, because y'all expect a man to be out there providing, making money, right? And you just said earlier that y'all make the choice to be the nurturer while he's out there, as my man OG say, hunting, right? And he hunting to bring food back. You made the choice to be the nurturer. So now when y'all decide to separate, you're just going to categorize him to that role and say he doesn't have the ability to nurture? Or no, I've been doing it all this time, so you can't have it.
I do not agree with mothers keeping the fathers away from the children just because they got hurt feelings. That is not something I would condone or agree to. So that's not what I'm saying at all.
Well, that's what happens most of the times.
Right,
that's
exactly.
Your experience.
Look,
because your feelings are hurt.
Right.
So your feelings are hurt that you say, oh, he's not a nurturer. He's not loving. He's not this. He's not that. That's what you do.
So what do men do? What are their excuses for abandoning their children? Because that happens more than women abandoning theirs.
Well,
so why does the men easily walk away from their families when they know that they created a responsibility for themselves? What do men do?
Most of the time
it's the woman that they're running from. They ain't running from the children. They running from you.
Why are they making decisions to have babies by multiple women they don't want to be with?
Well, that's the complexities and the ugliness, I think, of circumstances of all of our lives. So you had mentioned the fathers. I have mixed feelings about that. My father wasn't there, and we had different conversations about the topic, touched on it, but in the end, from what I gather, I mean, and I can't speak for, all these different fathers, but I have talked to different fathers, and you run into a range of excuses. It can run into, hey, I was married, it was an accident. Oops. I was trying to, keep it from my wife, or, whatever, the bastard kid syndrome, or it could be, it was a one night stand and she wasn't the one I was trying to be with. It was just a hookup. It was like riding that moped. It was fun to ride in the dark or in the backyard, but you don't want to take that thing out into public. So it was oops, I cracked the emergency sex button, and then it was her, and then we had an accident. So that wasn't the one I was trying to have a kid with, though, and she wanted to keep the thing. So she kept it, and then I told her I ain't want it. But you got that situation. You got relationships that come together and they just don't work out after they had a kid, or they get together because she got pregnant and it don't work out. You get married and divorced. All of these different circumstances are complicated. Cheating, all that, miscommunication, all that stuff. Life. It's fucking complicated, but at the same time, it's ugly. There's no. I don't think there's any one shoe that fits one particular scenario. So I can't point the finger at anyone, because it's I get it. It's ugly and it's complicated, and ain't nobody clean in this thing.
Hey, Ephraim, you want me to show you how cold this is? Because I always tell you it's about what you know. So there is a court case, because you got state, but then you got federal, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a court case that if a custodial mother has a boyfriend living with her, the state can change custody to the father. Now, how many of y'all see them scenarios? But do fathers know that? No. And by the way, because I'll give it to you, it's Jared versus Jared. That's the case study right there.
Check it out, folks. Jared versus Jared. I
should
pull it up. Hold on.
You know what I mean? If a custodial mother has a boyfriend living with her,
I know a nigga named Jared.
Right? There's so many, man. Like I say, but it's educating yourself to understand. Because for me, when the feelings are involved, right? You can't move off feelings. You got to move off what's legal and what's binding and what you know. Your feelings will have you all off paying tons of child support and all in your feelings about what they doing and how they done moved on with their life and what she did to me. You know what I mean? But your legal right to your child, for the child's best well-being, I think as a parent, that's your responsibility to know, especially when you sat down and, my mama asked me, was that 15 minutes good? You know what I'm saying? Because you're living it for the next 18 plus years. That small bit of time you have.
I think that's one of the reasons why the statistics help us kind of go backwards, the older statistics from history, and why, they started or how things were in the culture. Because if you look at other cultures, Asian cultures, bless you. Asian cultures have a low rate of single parent households.
Damn, I thought I was muted.
Indian cultures have a low rate of single parent households. Like, we have to go back and really dig if we're looking for answers. In my opinion, it's a shared responsibility, and it's also a shared responsibility to fix it. So in my opinion, I think that if the consequences were more, and I mean, that's obviously going to be weighed on who's making those consequences. And once you're the one in trouble, are you really going to support those consequences? But I think that when it's not so accepted in the culture to have single parents, to just have 5 baby mamas, 3, 4, 5 baby daddies, like if it's not so acceptable in the culture, then people would start doing, like, you're not going to go and just openly do what you're ashamed of. But there's no conscience against it anymore because it's become the norm. It's become more accepted, more common. And I think we have to get back to it not being common. But the average single mother are between the ages of 35 and 59 in the United States. They're more likely to be a single mother between those ages. So I'm thinking about that age group, 39 to 59. That's y'all. That's us. That's us.
Man, I'm young. I'm about 25.
He said,
I'm just saying. But think about it. What affected our generation that caused us to make more decisions like that than our ancestors or our grandparents, etc.? Because I know in my generation, that was when crack hit and all kind of stuff like that. A lot of fathers wasn't in the home because they went to prison.
That too.
Yeah, it'd have been decent.
Ergonomic.
It had been happening like that, like we mentioned, since before we got here. It had happened in the 60s and 70s. You know, the moral compass was diminished or reduced. So that whole understanding or acceptance of unwedded relationships, or rather unwedded children born out of wedlock, it was more acceptable. So it was, it is what it is. It was like, okay, so now it's not as bad. It's not like you're gonna get that scorn, and it was happening so much, it became the norm, the exception to the rule.
So you can't judge somebody when you're guilty of the same thing. So the more people that do it, the less people are judging and setting a different standard. I have a question for the panel, though, if you don't mind me transitioning for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are men. Only one man on the panel doesn't have children. What lifestyle do you think you want your child to live after a breakup with their mother?
Uh-oh.
See, I was wondering when that one was coming.
Well, let's say that you're not saying, let's say, hypothetically, you don't have to use your personal experiences, but let's say that you're not saying she's a bad mother. Let's say that you can agree she's a good mother. What lifestyle do you think your child should live if she has primary custody? Do you think it should be equal to your lifestyle, or do you think it should only be what she can afford?
Whatever her paycheck can afford.
Okay.
Because she's not going to work like me. And she might have not the education like I do. That's not my fault. That's not my fault at all. So when they with her, they're gonna live a certain lifestyle, and when they with me, they're gonna live a certain lifestyle. That's not my problem.
So you're not concerned with the lifestyle your child lives in her home. You're only concerned with the lifestyle your child lives in your home.
Definitely.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and interject. I don't have kids, but if I did, I would definitely want, if I was able to provide an equal lifestyle for that child, I would want that. Do not throw the simple arm on me, please. This is not something. This is just something I feel like a child shouldn't be fucking confused when they go from one household to the next. They, if anything, should feel warmed and welcome, knowing that, hey, if I got a PlayStation 5 over here, I got a PlayStation 5 over here. Sorry about that. Not to say, that children should be spoiled beyond control. I'm simply saying that they shouldn't be confused as to why is it that I got Jordans over here and Pro Wings over there. It just doesn't make sense.
So Cutter, I got a question. What are you teaching them?
I'm teaching them not to be fucking confused.
No, Cutter. That's not what you're teaching them. You teach that the world is even, and that world is not even. It's not even at all. They got winners, they got losers, they got all that.
But if I can start, hold on. If I can start saying that in my household and in your mom's household, you will not have to struggle, but you're going to learn what it means to work.
Right.
Not saying that they're going to be spoiled, but when you come over here and when you go over there, I would definitely want to have that conversation with my child's mother to say, hey, look, I know you probably gonna, buck the system that I have over here, but please allow me to be a father to my children. Don't spoil them to the point to where when they get over here, they think they're gonna get their way. Meaning that each time they leave my house, I have to have a conversation with you like, hey, we had a talk. My mama let me do this. No, we had a talk. Don't let them do that. Because when they get over here, they expect that same treatment, and I'm not giving that. And you making me seem like the mean dad.
Which could be taken the same way if dad has everything and he's the fun dad, and you come home to mom and she ain't got none of that. Like, well, my daddy got this, my daddy got that. Then they turn their nose up at the other parent too.
But Danelle, listen. Remember when I said allowing your personal feelings to get involved with your parenting? that goes into that playbook.
Absolutely.
That, hey, you know what? Your daddy might make you do this, but look, when you come over here, you ain't got to do that. You gonna do this my way. This is what you're basically writing out his rules at that point because of the way you feel about him. Vice versa.
Right.
Vice versa. He could be like, your mama don't run shit. This is my house. You can do this over here.
Right.
So guess what? Now you're undermining her.
Right.
And saying, hey, look, your mama don't let that. Look, instead of saying that, hey, look, your mama don't let that shit slide over there. It ain't gonna slide over here. Basically showing that you're in cahoots. But when parents are like fighting against each other to gain the respect of the children, that's when I say, you know what, that's fucked up. Because now you're saying, okay, you're teaching your kids how to play the parents.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm gonna say we can't do this over here, but we go over daddy house. We gonna do that. You know what I'm saying?
What you got,
it's
Kurt?
fucked up.
Well, I mean, it's like it goes back once again, maturity, right? To do this one thing called co-parenting. And like we talked about earlier, there's the legal aspect to it, right? Where you agree upon what the best interest of the child's going to be from a day to day. Now, yes, our homes are different, okay? Because that was the choice in separating into two households. So you're going to have your life. You know what I mean? You have the way you live your life, and I have nothing to say about that. That's on you, right? The only thing I'm concerned with is my child. And for real, once the child gets to a certain age, I don't really need to talk to you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The child can call me and tell me whatever she needs. Daddy, give me this. Daddy, I'm coming over your house, right? It doesn't, the control only happens, I think, in the very beginning when the child's, infant up to, let's say, maybe 10, 11, right? Once that child gets 10, 11, then technically it's that child's choice. That child can go anywhere they want to go, right? And then you look stupid as a parent going, no, you can't go over your dad. What? That's my daddy. Because now the child is aware. So it removes the games now from the situation. Now, you'll have that whole part where a man has been absent for a long time, right? Okay. And because they play that game. But once that child becomes aware, most children want to know who their father is. Now, they'll hear all the stories, you know what I'm saying, that the mama and the family and everybody said how he ain't shit. You know what I mean? But some children will still go, let me go see who my father is on my own. Some children will believe the stories and then it'll come later on. That's just the path of the child. But when it goes back to the co-parenting for the best interest of the child, back to your question, no, my lifestyle is my lifestyle. Now, I don't believe in, okay, this is my stuff for you over here and you can't take it over your mother's. What do you mean? This is your stuff. You're a child. So if I buy you Jordans, you take them wherever you want to buy. If this is your PlayStation, you can take it here, there, where it's yours. I'm not going to confine you to what's yours. That's stupid because that's a control thing. You see what I mean? And that's the game that parents play with each other, using the child in the middle as the fucking tool. And it's ridiculous. It's immature. But when you're a mature parent and you're co-parenting, I don't give a fuck where those clothes go. Dude, take your shoes. Matter of fact, do you want to go see your mama? I'll drop you off over here. I'm not tripping. You want me to pick you up in the morning? I got you, because it's about the child understanding at a certain age its own independence and that he has the support of both parents, right? And how he's becoming whatever girl or boy that it's growing into. You know what I'm saying? So all that other shit, to me, it's stupid.
I think it's easy to come up with the premise based on the mother being the custodial parent and then the father being the support parent when they don't have the custodialship of the child. So we got to reverse that, because now you got a father that's the custodial parent and the mother that's the support person. Does the arrangement change?
No.
Does it change the perception if they don't make as much?
Why would it change?
I feel if we're looking at what's in the best interest of the child, it doesn't matter whether or not the custodial parent is the mother or the father. They are entitled to the best life that you wanted to give that child when you decided to go ahead and have that child. So like if I got pregnant and we decided that we're going to keep this baby, we were in a relationship and we said, oh, we want our baby to go to this school. We want our baby to dress like this. And we had an idea of what lifestyle we wanted to provide for our children. Mm-hmm. I don't think that the children's lifestyle should change because we are no longer together. I think that we both are responsible to work to make sure the lifestyle that we think is the best lifestyle for our child is what we both are working to provide for that child. So it might be different for different people. He might live with his dad. She might live with her dad. She might live with her mom. It doesn't matter. What matters is, are we both putting forth our honest effort to give that child the best lifestyle that they could possibly have? Mm-hmm. Now, if you are not, and it's clear that you are not, do you deserve the same rights as the custodial parent that is putting forth all that effort?
Doesn't matter. Get your feelings out of it.
Yeah,
Still have that right.
Matter. Yes.
Go back there again. They can't let it happen.
Because does that or does that not show that you don't have the child's best interest at heart?
Well, but
it doesn't matter because they're the other parent. It doesn't matter.
Bingo.
So
it doesn't matter.
Doesn't have to have the child's best interest at heart?
No, it doesn't matter. They're the parent. They have the right to act the way they want to act, to interact how the children, how they want to act. It does not matter. You got to give them the right. You got to give them the right to be that parent.
We would love for y'all to chime in too.
Well, and I'm thinking about it from the standpoint of, let's say for me as a man, if I believe that my child, for example, just use that as an example, I think that they should go to private schools, and I'm willing to dish out and I'm willing to pay for them to go to a private school. But the mother's over here going, no, it's easier for me in my day-to-day routine that they go over here because I don't want to drive over there, or whatever excuse they give, because there has to be an agreement. Don Miguel, the 4 agreements, right? So you have to be in agreement with the other party to see a vision outside of yourself for that child. And then you have to both be willing to co-parent and work as friends, okay, for the best interest of that child. I don't have to like you. I don't really even have to talk to you at a certain point because it's business. Tell me about my child, and then eventually my child can tell me what it wants to do.
I would agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. I definitely feel like the effort has to come from both parties, the custodial parent and the absent parent. And it needs to be genuine where the child's best interest is what the focus is from both parties. I think that when we get our feelings on the table, everything, it comes into a you versus me versus what is in the best interest of a child. If we're talking about 2 mature parents here that just couldn't work together as a couple, then they should be able to work together. And I think that that's where the solution is, realizing that both parents are responsible. You created this child and you should give this child the best life you possibly can. Now, I'm not telling you offer this child $1 million trust fund if that's not in your budget, but if you got $50 million, hell yeah.
well, I mean,
that is his. I mean, that's whether it's the man or the woman, the mother or the father. Right. It's up to them what they want to leave their children. Now, when this is why I say what I say. If first of all, you have to understand where you are in parenting. You're not in a marriage. Nobody has to abide by anybody's rules. This is why the most important thing is the relationship between the mother and the father. And you can say, oh, okay, I want my child to have this lifestyle. Well, if your relationship with your child's father is shit, what do you think the child is going to come out like? Like, if your relationship with the child's father or the child's mother is bullshit, the child is gonna hear constant bullshit with, oh, well, your mama is well, your daddy ain't shit, and woo woo woo. And I mean, because y'all don't have a co-parenting relationship, you have a competition. Who can make this child feel better about the parent that's raising them? Because ultimately, I want them to feel the same way I feel about the opposite parent. And that's where the personal shit comes in. And that's where the child gets fucked up. And this is
Cutter,
why.
for me,
Go ahead.
just the I statement for me, Cutter, I never prescribed to that method because my focus was being the best father I could be. I could care less what she was doing, what she was saying. It did not matter to me because I grew up without a father and I know what I want my father to be. So that's what I was trying to be to my children more than anything. So I didn't care what she was saying. It did not matter. And I never said anything damaging to them about their mother because I felt like they had to make their own decisions and choices of who she is and who she represented to them.
Right.
Yeah, I think that we as men, we have to take that stance that we don't say anything damaging because we have to know our influence and who we are and how we influence our children. I think that's the main thing.
Let me say this, and I'm getting personal here. I don't care because this makes a great example. My dad, our dad, he knows, was not there a lot of the time. He made empty promises. I'm gonna come get y'all this weekend, and then we waited. Nigga never showed up. Many times it would be the same thing over and over again. Well, yeah, your daddy come to get y'all this weekend, and then she just stopped saying it because she didn't know whether or not the nigga was gonna show up. I remember one day I was just waiting on like a little idiot kid waiting for my dad to show up in the Cadillac. I mean, he had a what was it, a white Cadillac or some shit. Anyway, and then it got to the point to where I was like, fuck it. But guess what? My mom never said anything bad about him. She never badmouthed him. She never said he wasn't shit. She never said anything. She did what she did. She took care of whatever she took care of. And whenever he didn't show up, well, he might come. She might say something. But she never, ever, ever said anything bad about him.
Hey, I know Mom's. Mom is old school. Mom didn't believe in it, though. Yeah.
But guess what? It took me to get to that point to where I was like, you know what? Fuck that nigga. That nigga ain't shit. Woo. And he could attest to this. It took, E going to the Navy and coming home. It's like, man, you need to go see the old man. Nigga, what? See the old man? That nigga gonna give a fuck about us. Fuck that nigga. You know what I mean? But it took me, myself as a man or a young man, 17, 18 years old, to say, you know what? I'm gonna go see this nigga. But this is the point. Some children have to find out for themselves. It ain't up to the parent to say, your daddy ain't shit or your mama ain't shit or whatever. It's up to you to find out, hey, what happened, bro?
So Cut, I got a question for you. So when you went to see your father at that time, did you need closure or you were asking certain questions to figure out why he never showed up in your life?
No, I didn't need closure. I needed a beginning because we never had a relationship.
Yeah.
We never had a relationship. And I remember the day that I went and saw him, I stayed there. I got there like 10 a.m., around 10 a.m. And at the time I was smoking cigarettes and he smoked cigarettes, which ended up being part of his demise. And we sat up there smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee all morning up until 6 o'clock. And he took me around, South Park to see my, aunts, uncles, and all that stuff. I literally stayed over there and kept going over there, like for maybe a couple of months straight, just to get to know him. You know what I mean? And finding out how much we had in common. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I tell this story to say that I, like many other kids, and I remember hearing Ray Lewis, the football player, Baltimore Ravens, how he had a similar story. He really didn't know his father. And it took himself to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go see this man myself.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of hating him based on what everybody else would have said about him or how I felt about him because he never showed up or, did what he said, what he was going to do. I'm gonna go ahead and see him for myself. And sometimes it takes that as a man. And I'm not saying I recommend that for anybody, any young
Well,
man, but
well, at the end of the day, Cutter, forgiveness is not for the other person. It's for you to
it's for
grow.
you. It's for
Yeah.
you. It's for you. It's for you. And it was more about an awakening than a forgiveness, because I really didn't feel like he owed me an apology for anything. I felt like he owed me a relationship. He owed me something uh, outside of fatherhood, because he didn't offer that. I just wanted to get to know him as a man. You feel me?
Hey,
Mhm.
quick question. So
Go ahead.
I got 2 ending questions because we're gonna wrap it up because I don't want to keep y'all too long. But the biggest one, I'm sure, is would parents still pay child support if it wasn't enforced?
Mm.
Uh-oh. Dun, dun, dun.
But
Hell to the no.
Oh no, no.
Danielle, what you think? I'll start with you. What you think?
Some of them would. Every man, every woman are not deadbeats. You
all right,
do
so
you do have good people out there. The statistics show that some people are receiving full child support. However, I believe that the majority, no. I believe the majority, if there aren't any consequences that's going to take their driver's license, stop them from working, put them in jail, take their tax returns, attach their other spouse's wages. I think that is those things were put into place to try to make people pay the child support that they weren't willing to pay on their own.
Kurt?
hmm, so all those things that you just mentioned, I get it, but those are also the things that can inhibit a person from having a lifestyle to be able to pay the child support. All those things aforementioned. Um, I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you enforce child support or not. If you're not gonna pay, you're not gonna pay. What do you mean? There's nothing. I don't give a damn about a license. There's ways around that one. It doesn't matter what your consequences are. If I don't want to pay, I don't want to pay. Bottom line, you can put it all out there if you want, because guess who got to go to work and get the money? I do. Guess who got to write the check or have it come out of your well? I do. And so what do some dudes do? I just ain't going to work. I'll find another way to make money. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm tired of them taking half of my paycheck to where I can't live. You know what I mean? I'd do better off out here hustling on the street, whoop, wop, whoop. And then you get bitter because you put me in this situation. So why should I pay? I ain't, you know what I mean? If you ain't thinking about me. So it's kind of like you take away the gas because it's like making a father feel like he's less than. You know what I mean? But for the men that got it, you know what I'm saying? And you got money, you ain't struggling. It's not an issue. Just pay the ticket and keep it pushing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's about taking care of my child.
Right.
Gillum, what you thinking on that question?
I think it's all about situations and what kind of access you have to the children. At the end of the day, if I have limited access, I'm paying limited funds.
Bingo. That part right there.
Because I'm not giving you a whole lot of funds if I don't have access to my children. And you think that you control everything that's going on with my children.
Bingo.
I'm not giving you $1,500. I'm gonna give you $300 because you give me $300 access to my children. So if you give me $1,500 access to my children, we gonna give you $1,500. It's all about access at the end of the day.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Cutter?
I really don't have a dog in this fight. So I ain't got no damn kids. Yeah.
And it's funny that you would say it's all about access, and the men or the 2 of the men on the panel would agree with that. But then the court says the less time you spend with your kids, the more you owe the mother because she has to take on more responsibility, or the father if they're the custodial parent.
Oh, but here, remember how you hear me talk about everything is economics? Just with what you just.
The question was about.
All right, so just with what you said right there, when they give the mother more time, right? And most mothers know, yeah, the more time I get with the child, or shall I say, the less time he gets, the more money I get. So it behooves me to limit his amount of time to the child because I get a greater paycheck in it. That's how they calculate child support. I mean, it is what it is. And look,
or the less time I have to take care of this kid, the more of my own money I can save.
I mean,
okay.
95% of women don't look at it like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Was made up in your head, Gillum. You ain't pulled that from no research.
I'm gonna finish my point real quick.
It sound good. Because it really do. It really sound good.
I'm glad Danelle said that. Because we got to remember child support became a hustle after a certain point. And I know, women don't like to hear this shit, but it is. It's a hustle for some women. Meaning that, they seek out the greatest chance for them to get the man with the top-notch resources and get pregnant by him. Because they know that by him being the father, that if they put him on child support, 9 times out of 10, they're going to live the lifestyle they want to live. Because child support is not set up.
So Cutter, that's a great point. So my question is, would baby need $200,000 a month to live?
No baby needs $2,000.
It's not about whether or not the baby needs $200,000 a month to live. You're throwing out this astronomical amount as if that's something that's common. There's exceptions to every rule, but at the end of the day, most people ain't getting that kind of money in child support. But I do want to say this though. In every species that God created, there is a selection process when mating. If you are a penguin, if you're a female penguin and men are building rock mountains or whatever, and you want to pick the one that's going to build the biggest because you know that person's going to be a provider. Let me take this to a personal story.
Oh, that's your choice.
My grandmother, because like I said, back in the days when all of this just started, women didn't have the same opportunities as men, didn't make as much as men, etc. So my grandmother did not want to marry my grandfather when they were younger. They knew each other. They were like friends, but she wasn't interested in him romantically. My grandmother used to tell us a story. She said, I married your grandfather because my family told me that he would be a good provider. And one thing I knew about him for certain is that he would be kind to me, he would be loyal to me, and he would take care of our family. And that's what was important to me as a woman, because those were things that I couldn't ensure for my family by myself. And so people have different reasons, but my grandmother didn't go into it looking for the best provider so she can divorce him and be single and raise her kids on her own and get child support. She picked the person that she thought was going to be the best partner for what she needed in her life. And everybody's needs are different. So if somebody is getting, yes, there's women out there that attack men just because they're rich and they feel like they're their ticket. But that's not the majority of the single family homes that we're talking about. There's a selection process, and we talk about being wise in our selection and taking accountability and responsibility for the choices that we make. Then absolutely you want to make wise decisions on who you choose. What qualities are you looking for?
All right, so
let me hold on.
Come on, Kurt. Come on.
Let me touch on this because this goes along with what I was saying. So Danelle, let me ask you a question. Do you believe, and you just said it, but I'm going to ask you anyway, do you believe that women will go after the best provider, the man with the most resources?
I do believe that is something that some women do, but there are also a lot of women out there that will be the one that makes the most money.
Do you feel that the majority, if you were to take a percentage?
No, I don't think the majority are gold diggers, but I do think that
we're not calling them gold diggers. I don't want to call them names. I don't want to call anybody
in regards to what Gillum asked, in regards to women.
No, we're not talking about Gillum. We're not talking about. I'm talking about my question. Hold on. I'm talking about my question. I'm gonna need you to hear me out.
Okay.
Do you feel that the average woman would rather take the man with the most resources or the man with the limited resources?
You're talking about just finances or resources?
Finances, resources, same thing.
That's a part of resources. That's not all the resources.
So
yes, I do think that everybody that dates is trying to pick the best candidate for what their interest is or what their needs are.
Well, no, here you go skating again and shit.
No, I'm not.
Here you go skating
You can't take something I said, interpret it how
asking
you want
a
to,
general
and turn
question.
it around, and then tell me when
I'm asking you a general question. It's a simple question.
Hold on.
Do you feel like the average woman would accept or take the man with the most resources or the man with the less resources as their child's father?
Me personally, I want somebody.
I didn't ask you personally.
I can only speak for me. I can't speak for all women. I can't speak for all women.
I'm saying from your opinion, would you say that average woman would accept the man with the most resources, the most he has to offer, or the man with the limited resources?
Hey, the question is easy since you don't want to answer. They're gonna take the man with the most resources because that's what most women do.
Let me answer your question, and then let me also add something to it. Yes, I absolutely think that it is common for anybody to pick somebody with the most resources. So to simply answer your question to make you feel good, yes, I think that a woman would. I think
that's how that all lives matter question go.
No, I think that women would pick somebody with the most resources. But let me ask you this. How many times have a woman picked a broke man, ended up with nothing, and you say, well, you shouldn't have picked him. You should have picked somebody that was more stable.
That ain't got nothing to
There's
do with
nothing wrong with picking somebody that is stable and secure.
It's not. I'm not saying that's what I'm pointing at. I'm trying to my whole point in asking you that question for you to admit that the fact is that the average woman, being in her position, would pick the man with the most resources, right? Right. I mean, you just said there's nothing wrong with it.
That led to your question was women go after men with money so that they could get child support. So it doesn't tie together.
It does tie together because it becomes a hustle. At the end of the day, the bottom of the barrel will always come for the
everybody's
money.
Hustling. Everybody's hustling.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
The money.
It seems like you contradict your own position.
I'm
because
not contradicting
one minute you say that we're supposed to appreciate and respect our different roles. Oh, if you're the stay-at-home mom and he's out there making the money, don't act like he's not the nurturer because he's doing his job.
I don't believe in that.
So if you're okay with the fact that you're not lacking anything because you're taking your role or you're doing your role by providing, but you're not able to fill in the gaps over here, what is the difference from a woman saying, okay, if I'm going to choose a man into my life, then I want him to be able to fulfill his role. Like I said, when I gave my whole explanation, everybody's needs and desires are different. Everybody doesn't need somebody that's financially stable. There might be people that want their husband to be stay-at-home parents. Like the world is changing quite a bit.
So now, are you a she chauvinist? Are you a she chauvinist? Because you sound like one right now.
I'm a fairist. Okay.
That's not my point. And
I'm a person that doesn't go he versus she. I go with facts and reality, Gillum.
No. And I want to make this clear. That was not my point. My point was to get you to admit that truth. That honestly, it's nothing wrong. This is a female's nature. She's going to go after the man with the most resources. Why? Because she has an offspring. She, as a nurturer, wants to see the best possible outcome for her offspring. So why not go after the dude that has the most resources? This is nature. This ain't nothing we made up.
Not be what I need.
No, I'm not saying that's what you need. It's what you desire.
No,
it's your nature.
For instance, I might want somebody to support me to go after my dreams.
Yeah, but guess what? He still got to have resources.
No. Let me tell you this. Depending on what woman you line yourself up with,
She's chauvinist in the building, ladies and gentlemen.
So supporting her might be your strongest part, your strongest suit. Like you never know when God brings two people together, your relationship ain't gonna look like my relationship. My relationship ain't gonna look like their relationship. I have a purpose. I know what I need to do in my purpose. So regardless, like he could have invested in a company and don't need to work full time. Whatever the case might be, situations are going to change. At the end of the day, you can't say that every woman should just look for somebody with the most resources because that might not be what they need.
I'm not saying that she should. I'm saying that it is your nature. It is what you are designed to look for. This is the reason why majority of the dudes who have money go after the women who are the most beautiful. Why? Because they desire the man with the most resources. It's the laws of nature. We don't control this shit. We didn't make it up. We didn't make the rules. It is what it is. And I understand what you're saying. I'm simply saying that it's something that's beyond our control. But what I wanted you to admit is that by nature, it's not something. Okay, you have your opinion, right? You what? I'm not like that. I don't do this. Oh, that's cool. But guess what? The majority of your species does.
Well, where are you getting that comment from? Have you done any research to say the majority of women are seeking child support over a relationship?
I don't have to.
All you gotta do is Google it. All you gotta do is look on the internet.
Right now, if you Google it right now, I guarantee you that most single parent homes,
what woman don't like free money?
Not desired.
First of all, single parent homes are not really single parent homes because they have their mother to help them, they have their uncle to help them. So single parent homes don't really exist.
What? I'm just asking. What woman don't like free anything?
What?
They all like free shit.
Do you like free shit?
That's what I was gonna say. I think everybody at this point.
I said we all like free shit.
Free.
You said they don't.
No, we don't. As men, we don't experience that privilege.
That's not true.
Bullshit.
You don't never get nothing free.
Anybody, Danelle, point me to the free corner, the free money corner.
When we go to McDonald's.
When you want me to point you to it, you point me to it. I don't see no money tree nowhere.
It's called child support.
Are you kidding me? That ain't free. I sacrifice my life every day for a little bit of chump change, and then I still got to pay more than that.
My mama ain't never received no child support.
I ain't talking about your mama. We talking about this day and age, and I'm the one on the panel.
Do you so quick question. Y'all see with I mean just to piggyback off of that, it is a such thing as kept men. I mean, we do have kept men out there. Really? So yes, it is a large group of men growing these days that want to be kept. There
are so many Nick Cannons in the building. Spending lots of dough. Like it's not like come on.
We have some comments going off in the chat box, y'all. We ain't read out one of them.
Now, all I'm gonna tell you is this, and I've been quiet for a minute. Go ahead. But I just want to digress back to last week. We ended last week with this one question that she kept skirting because she good to put them skates on, be bouncing with it.
I know.
And she proved it again tonight without me even saying anything, and I appreciate that, Danielle, because you just confirmed that yes, baby, it is your choice. I still can't get through the door unless I got you.
Mr. Acapella, can you please put a definition of choice for me?
We bringing it back up again. We bringing choice back up. One of my favorites.
Now, just a recap for us, our viewers that wasn't tuned in to the part one. A few opinions on the panel, and you'll see which ones I'm talking about, feels like or expressed that they felt like sex between a man and a woman is always only the woman's choice, that the man does not choose, he accepts. And I disagree with that because that led into that saying that the man is not responsible for the consequences, which is the
No. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that we can't have sex without the women agreeing. That's not what we're saying. Don't try to burn. Don't try to skirt. Don't try to skirt over that. Don't try to.
With who she
No, you're skirting over it. You're skirting over it. That's not true. That's not what we said.
Everybody that's watching, go back and watch part 1.
That's not what we said. We said it's your choice. We said it's your choice to have sex with the man at the end of the day, because we cannot do anything without your consent.
Bingo.
And I said the woman can't do anything without the male consent either, and they disagreed.
We always consenting. What are you talking about? That's why we coming to you.
So that means that we both made the choice.
Yeah, I made the choice to come to you, but you made the choice.
But you made the choice to give me the ass.
No, part 1, these men said they did not make a choice on who they had sex with.
Hold on. Let me tell you, you know how many times I've been sitting in the friend zone wishing I could get at something, but it ain't my choice.
It's hers. That felt the same way about
it. Man, please. What?
You stop that. You stop it, Danielle. You stop it. You stop it.
So let's read through this, because I love choice. When I learned what the actual definitions with
you stop that
plural.
You stop trying to put that scenario out there. Women make the choice to have sex with men all the goddamn time. Men, we have no choice.
No,
we have to wait till you say yes or no.
Wait.
Wait. You got to read the definition, because we're using different definitions. So, choice is the act of choosing. That means the act that you're choosing, either in here or out there. In here or out there. That means in your mind, you could assent your mind to something, or out in reality, you could actually choose something to eat, something to grab, or something to do. Those are choice. That's a choice. Then you have the power. That means the cognition, the ability to choose, power of choosing, having an option. That's another form of choice. Then you got, I like the 3B. As that's the one that we're referring to right now. This kind of sets up the mood for the discussion. The choice, a person or thing chosen. We all have all of those. Neither one, as long as you have a working brain, as long as you're alive and that brain's working and kicking, guess what? We all have the same abilities, that whole power to do these things. And not one is greater than the other. The only thing that's different is the result, the consequences that come from exercising those choices. So that's where we disagree, because, of course, when you exercise that choice, we know that women and men won't get the same results. It depends on the circumstances. It's always going to vary.
So then let me say this, because I can agree that a lot of times there's not going to be equality when it comes to everything, male versus female, with the consequences. However, if I'm raising my children and I tell my son, for every time I come home and you don't have your chore done, then I'm going to take $5 off of your allowance. If I come home 2 days out of the week and he don't have his chore done, he has accepted the fact that he is going to lose $5 off of his allowance each day. So when you know the consequences, again, be aware, be smart, be wise, or keep your pants up. When you know the consequences, you have accepted the consequences of the child that you created and everything that goes along with it when you make the choice or accepted to go up in or open your legs.
Thank you. I agree. And you made the choice.
Yeah, you made the choice.
So did you.
No, we don't make the choice. We just exercise our right after you make the choice.
The definition of choice, that is ignorance falling out of your lips.
No, wait a minute. Let me put it like this. Let me make it more palatable. I could use the analogy of the garden, because all we did was follow you when you ate the apple. So
you accepted, right? Because you could have not.
Well, yeah, I followed you right into the bedroom, and you made the choice to lead me in the bedroom. I just followed.
And you had the choice to not follow.
Well, no, but I wanted to eat it. What do you mean?
That's lack of self-discipline. Let's grow up and be mature, responsible.
No, I've already established I was hunting for it in the first place, but I wanted it, but you wouldn't let me have it.
You can't maintain.
What?
You shouldn't be hunting for nothing you can't maintain.
Well, how do I get the opportunity to maintain it if you don't give it to me?
When you got up between her legs, you had every opportunity because, like, at that point, she gave you a yes. The only thing you can do from
that's all I needed. That's all I wanted.
The only thing that you can do from that point is mess it up. So
well,
you
yeah,
can
but look,
or you
and
can
thank
destroy
you.
it.
And
you
I
can
appreciate
be on the building team or the demolition team.
And yes, Danielle, you are so correct. Because guess what? You gave me the choice on what team I wanted to be on. And I appreciate that.
So just like I made a choice, you made a choice. And at the end, we're both equally responsible for the consequences.
I see what Kurt said. Now I see where what he's going with. So basically it's a point, because we all have choice, meaning the ability to choose, that cognitive ability, that power, but we also have the action, how we actually execute the choice, and then the actual thing that we choose is a choice. So those are three things. We got the mental ability, we got the action to produce the choice, and then we got the thing that we're choosing, that are all called choices, all of them. So when you say this, it can be confusing unless you clarify. But then I see what he's saying with the choice, meaning the action, or the thing that we're choosing to do. In this case, we're talking about intimacy, meaning sex. In order for that choice to be exercised, it is
by me.
It's the woman that has to.
I gotta follow you.
Yeah, that part. I mean, I see what he's saying, because that's what it means. That's what he's saying. The man, all the way up to that point, that particular choice has to be yours. And then once that's that option, because that's what it is, it's an option that you make available. The person that holds the options controls the choices. So that's where it comes into
option. So basically, he chose her first when he decided to pursue her. Then she chose him when she decided to accept it. So then we both chose each other, and this is a waste of a battle discussion.
Well, he's trying to stick at that at the moment of intercourse. Who has that? Who controls
wait a minute.
The whole reason why that came up, though. The whole reason why that came up is because we were talking about whether or not who is more responsible for the fact that you ended up with a parent. And at the end of the day, we both made a choice that ended up with that result. So regardless of whether you made a choice first or I made a choice second or first, it don't matter. At the end of the day, it took both of our choice to come up with that result.
True.
Okay, but true. Hold on. Up until a certain point, because I told you last week, I said, look, you got many dudes at your doorstep, right? You have many suitors, as they say, that come to you going, yo, can I get at you? I was talking to one of my girlfriends last night. She said she get hit on almost every day, to the point where it's annoying by men, right? But guess what? Guess who still makes the choice on what suitor she wants? You do. So many men can pursue you, and I can pursue you all day long, but at the end of the day, you're going to make your own choice. I still can't follow without you.
How many women
off my mic. Hold on, y'all.
And don't pursue?
Hold on. So I gotta say something.
Oh, we got Cutter.
I gotta say this, bro. And I'm so tired of y'all. I'm sick and tired of y'all with this fake ass shit. Y'all know exactly how men think when it comes to women. We pursue women based on one thing. Right? Y'all exhibit this on and offline, subconsciously and consciously. Yet, try to play dumb when niggas is in your inbox and niggas is trying to take you on dates and homeboys is trying to come out the friend zone that you put in the friend zone. And y'all ignore all these signs and everything, and you play dumb. I can't find a man. Shut the fuck up.
Pick one of the 30.
Hold on. Y'all got to hear me out on this one. I'm tired of y'all. Shut up. You're lying. It's so many men after you. It's just that you don't know which one to pick. You don't know. You don't know which one to take out of that circle of hundreds of dudes in your inbox trying to approach you when you go to the grocery store and when you just got on your gym clothes. Drake said it. Sometimes you look regular and you're fine. But yet y'all are like, I can't find a man.
Until they figure out their financial situation is.
Most of the beings that got penises ain't men. Okay? Everybody in your inbox ain't qualified to be in your inbox.
And y'all say shit like this?
That's right. Because if you send me a dick pic, you're getting blocked.
And they take it to the extremes.
You're
How
right.
many
It
niggas
was
actually
for you to
dick
send me a
pic?
picture of your penis and I ain't never met you.
I ain't never seen you no pictures.
That's
of my
what
penis.
is that? What is that? 10 out of let's see, no, I'll give you credit, Danielle. You're right. That's probably about 25 out of the 300 that you got sitting in your
You are full of
I
shit,
get
and
it.
you don't own a woman's inbox, so you wouldn't know how much bullshit
have,
comes in a
remember-
woman's inbox.
Danielle.
Still got a choice.
I'm sorry, I
You're
almost
right.
called
That's
you.
why it's not a matter of her not being able to choose. It's a
trust
matter of them
me.
pickings being real slim.
Trust me, I have
What?
a lot of female friends, a lot of female associates. I have
Okay,
a
I'm
lot.
gonna just tell you the
And-
truth. I'm gonna be transparent. I've been out in Georgia, and Ephraim, no, I've been out in Georgia for months. I ain't got hundreds of dudes in my inbox. I ain't got it like that.
because you already know how to get there.
No, because how could I stop somebody that I don't know from being in my inbox? It don't go down in
Come
my
on
inbox.
now. Come on, let's not be naive.
And you know,
Let's not be
and I'm not
naive
going to
or fake
accept you to
naive.
call me a liar because I don't lie. I don't
I'm
got
not saying
my
that you're a
inbox
liar.
ain't flooded with interested men. You talking about hundreds and hundreds of men? Where?
You're on social media, right?
You're right.
And
I still don't get hundreds and hundreds of inboxes. I don't even get 10 a week.
Dang,
are you
that's
on
still a
Instagram?
lot. That's if I get one every 3 weeks, one every 6 months, I'm doing good. You down to 10 a week?
You're a woman. Listen to me. I'm not an ugly dude. None of these dudes on this panel are ugly dudes. If we was all single right now, we wouldn't get one. Not one.
Where is that song I played when we was coming up in here?
Hold on, what did you say? If we was
this is my point. I'm trying to tell you that y'all don't have to hunt for dudes that's hunting for y'all already. This is something that's natural. Stop the front. This is why
You are delusional. You need to spend some time with a woman for real. Like a woman you're not interested in. Talk to her on a genuine level. And I feel like this is where the breakup is. Women need to spend more time really getting to understand a man's perspective. But y'all men got to spend more time really getting to understand a woman's perspective too. Because what you think is not reality for us most women. Not us good women. I don't know what women you've been dealing with. But the women that I know, that is not our reality at all.
Make me do this.
Go ahead.
I will drag you out.
You can't drag me nowhere. I publicly put myself out. I dare you.
Hold on. Don't do.
We don't. So it sounds like we sound like we finna do a test.
It sounds like experiment time.
Experiment time.
You know me, Lando. You know me, Kurt. You know me.
He's a promoter.
Know me.
I ain't got nothing to hide.
All I would do is real simple. I will take you to a bar and sit you down and just wait. And I guarantee you
30 by the end of the night.
30 by the end of the night.
And put the glasses on too. Put the glasses.
It'll be 30 to 0.
Take you to a bar and put you on some game as to how to understand a woman and see how many women you get. Maybe if you understood women a little bit better, you could get more.
Oh, that's a cheap shot. That's a cheap shot, Afro.
Hold on.
Oh no.
She done took off the gloves on you, Chris.
Hold on. I'm gonna let that slide. And look, guess what I'm gonna do?
Just gonna drink it off.
Let me drink
Look.
Because guess what? She don't know better. She don't know. And you know what?
No
another
more than
dude,
you know most women.
another dude would have got offended by that, and he would have been like, "You got me
How?
fucked
With
up."
all what you saying to me?
Look, I'm gonna just tell you like
He
this.
actually giving you compliments.
I get it, but I'm
actually
saying
telling
there's
you.
no way a man can be offended by me saying that if they're coming at me the way you came at me.
I
So
don't know
yeah,
how
I would expect.
All I'm telling you is the fact that I will take you to a bar and sit you down and let you understand how socially women have no reason to complain about the dudes approaching them. In Atlanta, especially.
I think it's more or less because Danielle's not the first time, and we all talk to women plenty of time. That's what we do for a living. Danielle, we talk to women. That's our job. We've been raised to do that.
I would hope so.
Exactly. So talking to women is you learn that when you're a kid. So that's not
women.
We already know that. But what I know that a lot of women that I've ever talked to, which has been a lot, the typical statement, you got to read between the lines, even with you. What she's saying, because you notice, and you gave example, she didn't have 10 dudes all up in her inbox. It might be 5, might be 7. What we know is most likely less than 10. And then it's a quality over quantity. But you ain't say that, but that's what you mean. You're gonna have men. Because I've been on the phone with you. You had Duke holler at you. Men are gonna approach you. It's just that the quality of the man dictates the quantity. No. That wasn't the first time I heard you before. See, we talking about. See, they eliminate the number of men that have approached them in their mind because they don't count them. But
okay, let me say this: do you count a woman trying to talk to you if she ain't got no teeth in her mouth?
It's still a woman trying to holler at me.
Do you count that as an actual potential?
Not a potential, but it is. It's an option.
She could have a good heart.
It's an option.
I listed. First off, I don't even have 5 a week, but I just said 10 to throw out an actual ballpark. But the bottom line is, when I threw out that number, that was the unqualified. It ain't like women are just picking over good men.
They are.
I actually had a conversation with a brother last week. And he said, I don't have a problem finding women, especially in Georgia. He said, in Georgia, these women are not only willing and ready, they want to settle down right now. The problem I'm having is they want to jump into a relationship instead of taking it slow.
Yep, that definitely can be a good example of Atlanta.
Over men.
Now, granted, there are a lot of women in Georgia.
Percentage is way off. Of course, we know that.
We know that. But we're not talking about the women. We're talking about the men.
I think I gave my input for the night. What we supposed to do?
Yeah, it was a good episode. We touched on a lot.
Yeah, man, this is great.
We appreciate everybody tuning in, all of the comments. I didn't get to everyone, but I tried to post a couple.
Special shout out to my baby Jaja that said hi. I had to say hi to her, and my girl Stephanie. Thank you for your comments, girl.
Yep, and then on YouTube, that was Naturally For You, Bath and Body. We appreciate your comments. Steph R, if you still out there, thanks for joining in. Be sure to click that subscribe. We're a growing channel, trying to gain some followers, and we're trying to grow. We
ain't trying to pay for them either.
Analia, appreciate you. Everybody will continue to bring different content. We appreciate you joining in. Thanks to the co-host, author Danielle Wright. Make sure you follow her channel. You got a book out there, Danielle. What's the name of that book?
The House Without Doors. Make sure you get my book. It's on Amazon. You can download it as an ebook, or you can get a hard copy. And if you want that signed, hit me up on social media. I'll definitely get you a signed copy.
K Fred, appreciate you coming on. We got a segment that's coming up with K Fred, where I'm sure you've been listening. He got all the knowledge that you need. We're going to be talking about finance. He's a financial expert, advisor. We're going to be talking about that. Probably touch on some fun stuff on relationships sometime too. But K Fred is going to be good. He's going to be joining us along with Danelle, and yeah, we appreciate your support. Cool Cutter, Gillum. Thanks for joining Concrete Reality TV.
Thank you.
Y'all have a great evening.